It'll be our 5th World Cup together and 6th and final inhabitable continent that we'll have done together.
Wow.
Committing to this idea of traveling for footy, but really valuing and experiencing, as much as you can as a tourist, the local culture and making local connections.
So to that point, what are you expecting now, having been to so many World Cups?
I'm stoked for this trip, not just from a footy perspective, but from that travel perspective.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Footy Travelers podcast.
Welcome. You are now tuned in to the EPB times Footy Travelers podcast. As usual, it's your boy, Matt Marshall. I'm here with Colin, one of the two of the Footy Travelers here.
That's right.
Joining me in LA in the studio.
Here we are.
Brother, I appreciate you coming. Welcome.
I appreciate you having me here, man. This is awesome. This studio is wild. I need to step up my game a little bit.
Step up your game? Really? Okay.
I like it.
It makes me happy that, most people do come in and go, this is a studio. For me, it's still a room with padded now, sound padding, but we're getting there.
Hey, small steps,
but
work your way up.
We're exactly. We'll be at the top of a tower at some point, just running
broadcasting
things.
Worldwide.
Yeah, worldwide. I mean, we're live worldwide. So Colin, I met you in Vegas after the Nations League final.
That is right.
The very it wasn't underwhelming, but I still to this day talk about kind of the fans that showed up and the energy in the building.
Mm-hmm.
But it was good soccer. So
part of that was probably the opponent and what they bring to the table as far as fans and how many they get into the stadium.
100%.
So
it's not a lot.
But U.S. soccer's slowly still growing.
Absolutely. And that's what we're here. That's what we're
up.
all about.
We're
about growing it.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that because you're right. Canadians and the fan base there.
Yes.
They're just so nice and there was no rivalry feel or anything. It was just kind of oh hey mate,
How you doing? Good luck today.
Yeah. It's fuck you.
Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Coming for you.
Yeah. Exactly. So we met in Vegas, kind of connected. I had honestly. Seriously heard about Footy Travelers before.
Okay.
I don't know if I had seen you guys on Instagram or what, but
probably.
Yeah, it was kind of exciting to just sit down and we had a beer. We were sitting in the American Outlaws kind of post game.
We all got together somewhere in the Mandalay Bay after that final. Rhythm and Riffs maybe was the spot.
I could not tell you. I was a couple drinks in.
There we go. We had a good day. It was the end of a long day.
It was the end of a long day, long weekend, honestly.
Yeah.
Vegas is like that. I can only spend 2 days in Vegas.
I went for about 5 because I did the semis as well.
Oh,
wanted to be there for that USA-Mexico game.
For sure.
I mean, that's
I'm sick.
The prime game in CONCACAF, right?
Yep.
And I'm not much of a Vegas guy either. So I was kind of, I wouldn't say worried, but a little reticent about spending that much time.
Yeah.
I've never done that long.
Yeah.
So, and this is kind of part of the whole Footy Travelers thing. It's what else can I do outside the footy, travel-wise, to enjoy myself and not get stuck in that casino floor, smoky smell, just throwing back drinks too much.
Oxygen
losing
pumping
all
into
my
you.
money,
losing
kind
your
of
money.
rut.
Yep.
Yeah. We actually found a lot of good things to do outside the Strip. Went on a nice hike in the Red Rocks Canyon area. Me and my wife one morning, early morning. And a lot of other little things in the downtown area, Arts District. So a lot more to do in Vegas other than the casinos.
Very important.
Just saying.
Very important. Yeah, I'm starting to get into that too. Go see a show. Go see, it's not just rage and casino life.
Totally.
So obviously your viewers and listeners know exactly what you're about. It's kind of pretty... it's pretty self-explanatory in the name.
Obvious. We tried to be self-explanatory.
But it's funny because when we talked and we connected, it was so cool just kicking it with you. We align so much in kind of this world that we're in and this brands that we're each building.
There were sparks.
Yeah, sparks flew, but they don't have to know about that yet, quite yet.
What happens in Vegas?
Exactly. But I mean, for my listeners, from a simple standpoint. You kind of are a soccer player, played growing up, love the game.
Totally.
A travel nut, and we can talk about that a little bit because you just let me on to a bigger nugget about this travel life. And so kind of merging it, much like Eat, Pray, Ball, is just like you traveling, experiencing cultures, and understanding the world a little bit better.
Connecting with other people, learning from them about their cultures. Yeah. Totally.
That's so cool. And so like how, and you say you've been, I guess, podcasting for about a year now.
Yeah.
But this whole ethos has probably been over years and years.
You nailed it. Yeah. So shout out to my buddy Mike, who's one of my co-hosts, one of the co-hosts. He'll be out here actually in LA Tuesday. We're going to fly out together to Women's World Cup down under.
Women's World Cup.
But it'll be our 5th World Cup together. And I think, thinking about it, our 6th and final inhabitable continent that we'll have done together.
Wow.
So we got some history.
Wow.
Yeah. Started all the way back in 2010 with the World Cup in South Africa. We had done some traveling through Southeast Asia together before that, the year before that. Fresh out of college, teachers in Thailand for a year. Yeah, well, that's a whole nother episode probably. But at the end of that, as that's kind of winding down, we're talking and making plans for South Africa 2010. So we go, both were still kind of teaching at that time, had summers off. Yeah. Had time. Yeah. Spent a good 6 weeks in South Africa. Wow. Saw the country. I think I might have like looped the country twice in a rental car. But really became mesmerized and enthralled by the World Cup experience. Yeah. It probably wasn't until later when we kind of discussed and debriefed a little bit our experience with a third buddy whom we met in South Africa, another fellow American. Yeah. He actually confessed, not a huge soccer fan, but he loved the spectacle of it. And we're like, yeah, that's the word. Yeah. It's a party. It's a spectacle. But I think most importantly for us, coming out of the whole travel ethos, I love that word, by the way. Mike uses that word a lot. It was making those connections with other travelers that really struck us as that valuable element of the whole experience. Yeah. And we're like, you know what? Obviously, still loving footy. Yeah. Really loving the travel aspect. We're doing it again. Yes. So come 2014, that third buddy I mentioned, he's actually in Brazil doing a study abroad program. Oh, wow. We're like, all right, great timing. Good for you. Yeah. Love the way you planned that.
Do you have a guest room?
And guess what? Yeah. He didn't, but we crashed in the living room on the couch. Okay. In Rio. So we're there in Rio. We go to Brazil. We'd get some games up in Recife and Natal. And again, just had a great experience. We got to keep this going. Yeah. We miss out, USA, on Russia 2018. And you're like, you know what? We're going. Still going. Yeah. Let's do it. Yeah. 3 in a row. Wow. Went to Russia. And because the USA wasn't there, it actually gave us a good opportunity to kind of lock into cities. So we just did Moscow and St. Petersburg. That's, got to know them pretty well.
That's all you really need to do in Russia, right?
Well, that's what we figured. Yeah. Let's go to where we know it'll be a good time. Yeah. We're meeting people on Nikolskaya Street, making friends with other travelers who are, either American or not. I remember a guy from Hong Kong that we really connected with, made friends with him. Yeah. Shout out to Amro. And then we went off to St. Petersburg and again, locked in for a good 5 days. Wound up going to this bar, probably every night. Making friends with the bartenders there. They kind of knew us. One night we stayed after they closed up and had some extra drinks with them. And I was like, wow, yeah, dang. Again, committing to this idea of traveling for footy, but really valuing and experiencing, as much as you can as a tourist, the local culture and making local connections. Yeah. And then, as we all know, you were there yourself, it sounds like. 2022 rolls around. They've awarded it to Qatar. And it's like, ooh, man, okay. Decision time. Yeah. Decision time. Yeah. Because it was, I'll be honest, it was kind of a moral dilemma for me.
Totally. But Russia wasn't, funny enough. Yeah. They're more established.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Touche. Yeah. You got me there, I guess. Mike and I actually had a little debate amongst ourselves. Do we go? And he was like, yeah, we're going. Yeah. It's going to be in 2026 in North America. That'll be 5 in a row. And we kind of have to go to Qatar just to fill in that gap, right?
Yeah, totally.
So I eventually worked my way to, you know what? We qualified. the boys are going to represent our country.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they have a choice. Like they could say, "Oh, no, thanks. I'm not going to accept my spot and not go." But who's going to do that?
Yeah.
Especially in our pool, in our group, those young guys.
Young
you know,
guys.
like
Young guys
they got a name
trying
to
to show themselves.
Yeah.
Already playing in Europe. Yeah.
Absolutely. And as like I guess an ex-player, I kind of tried to imagine myself playing in a World Cup, which I used to do as a youth. I never really made that.
Never
that
actualized
leap.
it. But,
no.
Yeah.
But I said, if I were them, I would want to know that my country, my fans had my back.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, we're going to go. I'm going to go, and I'm going to support the team. I'm going to be there for that. So we did the team-specific ticket through 4 games, and that proved to be just enough games, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Hopefully I didn't set any bad juju just getting the 4. But
that was a tough one.
here we are, heading to the Women's World Cup, our first Women's World Cup.
Yes.
And again, really just, looking to explore that culture, those cultures, I should say, the women's soccer culture, which honestly, as a U.S. fan, we all know from a success standpoint, I got the 4 stars right there.
Top of the top, baby.
You can see them.
It's kind of funny you say that though, because exploring the women's culture. But I want to go back to Qatar for just a
Let's
second.
do that. Yeah.
What was your verdict after? Like for all the reservations you had, going.
Great question.
Yeah. What was?
I came, I saw, and I enjoyed the World Cup.
Yeah. Yeah.
I probably won't go back. Like I'm not feeling drawn to like revisit, or I don't feel, because going to other places, I kind of left feeling like, oh, I wanted to do maybe like that one thing, or I missed out on seeing that one spot, or maybe I'll be back. So I've actually been to Australia and New Zealand a few times, and love the fact that we're going back there. Like that spot is amazing.
Yeah.
Love that place in the world. My wife and I actually tried to move there once, but to me it was kind of like this. I want to use the word fabricated city.
Yeah, totally.
A little bit of Mike will argue this too. A little bit of a fabricated soccer culture.
Totally.
I think, just to be direct and answer your question, my verdict is it was one of their first major steps in whatever their nation building exercise is.
Totally.
So it's very Vegas-y.
Yeah.
Hot, sandy.
Yeah. Empty. Kind of like desert kind of feel.
But like lavish and kind of in your face in certain spots.
It was kind of a vibe. And Vegas is a great. I've told people like Vegas. People have described Dubai as Vegas on crack.
Okay.
I think
Vegas on crack, not the other way around.
Yeah, not the other way around. It's like Vegas on, which I will say, I don't know if you've been to Dubai, but it did. So, and that was kind of, it's funny that you say that, because if I were to isolate Qatar in my experience, then it's exactly what you said. It was a city built for the World Cup. They did the World Cup right. I think they did well. It was a great time. When
you have billions of dollars, you can't really go wrong.
Can't go wrong. I was talking to taxi cab drivers and immigrants. All of like the whole town is immigrants, right?
Yes.
It's there's like I think 100,000 people who live in the country who are like actually Qatari.
Yes.
Yeah, and then the rest are just we came here to build the city.
That's right.
For this purpose. So them talking about how quickly they shot up those skyscraper, like it looked like the Avengers, Avengers Tower, like the skyscrapers
very futuristic.
With the windows, very futuristic, very like LED walls, lights everywhere. The
drone shows.
The drone show. It was ridiculous. So yeah, if I isolate that, absolutely, it was a city built for this purpose. Not necessarily anything really to go back for.
Right.
But interesting, and we'll see kind of what the World Cup and their future tourism economy brings them.
Yeah.
Again, it's just so much money. It all feels fake. I do try to compare it to America in a way. Completely different time and different kind of function. But as we were building America, it's same kind of vibe.
There are some parallels, yeah.
There's some parallels there. So I tried to keep that in mind, and it actually made me like more impressed with everything. It's like, in the Roaring 20s, they were just shooting buildings up in New York. Skyscrapers. People were immigrating.
Yep.
I mean, we were actually giving people citizenship.
This is true.
But kind of the same thing. And this is just like a more modern version of it. So we'll see. We'll see if, within 20 years, 30 years, the Middle East becomes like some kind of
still a spot. Yeah.
Yeah, superpower, right?
It might be. I mean, between them and Saudi, just kind of competing for
absolutely.
who's got the best spot.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like for some reason I just feel like Saudi actually runs all of it. Like Saudi's like actually kind of they've got their it's like, oh, cousin, go run, go run Kuwait, go run Qatar,
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
Like
Yeah.
they're just it's all one big family.
You think there's like a fake beef between Saudi and Qatar,
totally.
and they're like, hey, let's play this up a little
Yeah,
bit.
like,
Here,
let's act like we have
make sure you're building up too.
Totally, yeah. And they're just building all together. Regardless, it's just billions and billions, trillions, I guess, of oil money.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, no, that's that's an interesting.
That's my take. I don't know.
Yeah.
I went to see Qatar and I saw it.
And you came, you saw it. Yeah,
There it
I went to Egypt and Dubai as a part of that trip.
Gotcha.
Which created this whole kind of cultural, site for me.
So you mentioned Dubai being Vegas on crack.
Yes.
Give me your quick take on Egypt. Never been. What should our listeners think about when they go to Egypt or
Egypt
keep
is
in mind?
Egypt is amazing.
Okay.
Like the first word that comes to mind is amazing. I will
Okay.
say Cairo. You don't need to spend more than 2 or 3 days there.
Gotcha.
It's huge, but it's a third world country.
Okay.
I compare it a lot to Athens. I don't know if you've been to Greece.
I've been to
Athens big. I wouldn't say Athens is as third world, but just a big dirty city.
Yeah.
Where there's some cool, very historic monuments, just like the pyramids of Giza. They have the big Olympic stadiums.
Right. Ancient culture blending with modern day life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Super cool to see. But just in terms of just like living and having fun going out, I didn't need too many days there. So same in Cairo. Unfortunately, we didn't get to go kind of up the Nile and go to like Osman and all of the Luxor.
Up heading north or up heading upriver, which is actually south?
Going south.
Okay,
exactly. Yeah. No. Coming from Cairo, I think I would want to go north.
Okay.
And then that's
towards the
I'm
delta.
trying to like mental map. Yeah. Towards the delta. Wow.
There you go.
What kind
Little
of
geographic
Footy Travelers?
references, Hey.
Yeah. So yeah. No. So again, Pyramids of Giza, great site. It's literally just a monument, kind of in a wasteland. There was nothing around.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
just something to keep in mind. And then in the city, we stayed in the Nile. That's another kind of. This is my travel tip for the Footy Travelers. If you
Listen up.
if you go somewhere for like more than 5 days, I would stay in 2 hotels or stay in 2 different parts of town.
Switch your accommodations.
Yeah,
Don't get
don't get tied
like
down
that.
to like one. You might have some really cool deal at some great hotel, but you get like a full perspective shift, and you kind of get to know the
See
culture
more.
a little bit more and see more if you do that. So
Okay.
we did like every 2 days we would hotel hop. And it's
Is
been
that a
great for me.
trademarked thing? Hotel hopping?
Hotel hopping? I don't know, but if I can, I will. I will trademark. But you're allowed to use it. I'll add you to the.
That's really my question.
That's really hotel hopping. So yeah, that was that. But Egypt gave us kind of that more cultural appreciation.
Love that.
We went through the markets, did all that.
Yeah.
Then again, went to Qatar, completely fabricated. It was what it was. It was the World Cup, and we were there for the World Cup,
Right.
which was excellent for that, for that purpose. And then went to Dubai to like see what it was supposed to be. And indeed, I agree. It was Vegas on crack.
Okay.
I
There you
do.
go.
It was just lights, camera, action. It was just in a bigger space and
Gotcha. A little more spread out, maybe. Or?
way more spread out. But like everything was the largest. Everything was the superest of superlatives. The largest mall in the world. The largest
Right.
building in the world. The largest river in the everything.
Burj Khalifa, yeah.
Yeah, Burj Khalifa, which was again an amazing site. Has these like dancing water fountains underneath it that come on every 30 minutes. Bellagio-esque, but again, Bellagio on crack. Like
Wow.
it was like it's like I don't know, like
Because that's impressive and such a good use of water.
exactly. Like I was like, are they recycling this? What is going on? It doesn't matter. I think the water's imported anyway. Like they got billions. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
So and it was fun. So again, the trip as a whole again was amazing, and I did feel like I kind of felt some culture. But again, if I were to isolate Qatar, it was like yeah.
I think it's great when you can do kind of those side trips from World Cup destinations.
Yes.
Takes me back to when we were in Brazil, hopping over to Argentina down south, doing Iguazu National Park.
Yes.
I mean, Russia's kind of huge, so it's kind of tough to get to. Maybe not tough to get to a border to hop around, but you could go for 1,000 miles, east of Moscow, and
Right.
still be in Russia.
In Russia and be in frozen wasteland.
Yeah. South Africa, I think we jutted off to Lesotho, Mike, and then I did Mozambique for a little bit.
Oh,
But yeah,
nice.
side trips. Side trips are where it's at. I
Gotta do
respect the
side
side
trips.
trip game.
Are you doing side trips in Australia, New Zealand?
I mean, again, I think those are countries where it's so huge, and there's 2 of them. So, like, are each of them their own side trip?
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
How do you think about that? But we are doing. I can just run you through our itinerary real quick.
Sure.
But we're going into Auckland, USA versus Vietnam.
Vietnam first game.
Right away. And then we're going to head to Wellington for USA Netherlands. In between that, we're going to stop off in Taupo. Spent some time living and working in Taupo, actually, a few years ago.
Yeah.
So I have some friends there. I want to stop and say hi.
I'm not familiar with Taupo. Is it like small?
Right there in the middle of
Okay.
the North Island. Lake Taupo
Okay.
is where the town is kind of centered on. I want to say the town is on the northeast corner of the lake. It's actually a cauldron. Thousands of years ago, it blew up.
Wow.
And filled in with water, and now it's a lake.
Awesome.
Fun fact. But don't be scared. It's not active, I guess.
Yeah.
Waitomo glowworm caves along the way to there. But anyway, once we're in Wellington, we're going to hop over on the ferry to the South Island, do some wine country, Marlborough.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
And then stop in Kaikoura. I got a whole nother story there for you. We wound up stuck for 2 weeks, wife and I, in a camper van after an earthquake. So we made some friends there too.
Whoa.
Yeah, bonkers. Kaikoura down to Christchurch for just a night, and then we're flying over to Melbourne. We're going to hit Australia.
Yep.
Actually have tickets for the round of 16 game for Group E runner-up, which could be, not saying I hope it is, but could be the U.S. winner.
Yeah.
So if they wind up in second place, it'll be bittersweet because we'll actually have tickets to their game in Melbourne.
Yeah.
If not, we'll go see Netherlands, I guess. I'm assuming Netherlands
It's
will
probably going to be
come out second.
We'll see. It'll be sick either way.
See some friends there? Yeah.
Yeah, Melbourne.
Yeah, Melbourne's pretty dope.
Yeah. That's right.
I want to get to Perth. So between Melbourne and Sydney, because we do have tickets for the final as well. Scored those. First World Cup final, we finally got tickets for.
Yeah.
Excited for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to say it'll be like my 4th time in Australia, and I've never been to Perth, so I have this little chip on my shoulder.
Yeah.
Got to get there. Again, got a buddy out there, so connect with him. And off to Sydney and then back through LA to Denver for me.
Yeah.
Mike's out in Baltimore. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess they're all kind of like little side trips.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, you like kind of like stuttered when I first asked you. You're like, but no, that your whole trip is kind of side
bit
trip.
of a road trip.
Yeah, it's gonna be
here and
super
there.
cool.
Yeah. What about you? I mean,
well,
hear your plans.
Side trip. Yeah, I'll give you our itinerary. I start in Auckland. I'm leaving tonight.
Hey, let's get to it.
Let's get to it.
The jersey's on and I'm ready.
Yeah,
to
I got
go.
the jersey on. I'm ready. I'm shooting one more thing because I want to like do a little preview of the women I'm excited about watching on the U.S. team. So we'll shoot that after this. But yeah, get on the midnight flight.
Are you packed?
I am not packed.
Okay.
I don't know if you. Yeah, I mean, you didn't see coming in here, but I've got like clothes just on the floor, drawn out. It'll be fine, whatever.
You'll be
and it's like their winter, so I'm thinking like athleisure. Just keep it like sweats and just chill. Exactly.
Boom.
Sweats, joggers, whatever. Yeah, go to Auckland. Gonna go to opening ceremony. Do some droning. Do some fun kind of stuff. Obviously, we have all the U.S. First round game, or not first round, but group stage games, right?
You're going all 3?
Going all 3.
So you'll go back and forth between Auckland and Wellington?
We're gonna toggle. We'll go obviously U.S. Vietnam, go to Wellington.
Yep.
Then there's like a 5-day break before U.S. Portugal.
Kind of a big one, right?
It's a huge layover, right? So we're gonna go to Queenstown, I think it's called.
Ooh, yes.
Which I hear is just beautiful and stunning.
Not to be confused with Queensland in Australia.
Not to be confused with.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
You're going to
Queenstown, New Zealand.
South Island, yes.
South Island.
Gotcha.
Yes. And we'll rent a car. And
love that.
Again, my cousin and I are newly dubbed World Cup boys, which I'll call us World Cup boys junior to you now. Because, I mean, this is going on your 5th. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So he loves to drone. I got him into it. We have 2 each. We have like a FTV.
So 4 total?
Yeah, we have 4 total, which
with
just
the-
doesn't make sense. Yeah, the one with the goggles, and you can. It's a lot more like low and precise, so you can kind of
Interesting.
weave around things. Whatever, we'll see.
I'm gonna have to have you teach me some.
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
And the biggest rule I have is like it's a drone. It might break, you might lose it, you'll get another one. That's like
Right.
that's rule number 1. Like
Things
you can't
and
be
stuff.
too scared.
You can replace things and stuff.
You can replace things and stuff.
People are more
always.
important, yeah.
People are more important. Connections are more important. Exactly.
The ethos. We're
Exactly.
talking about the ethos.
here. The ethos. So yeah, we're gonna drone. We're gonna do some cool stuff. Get some footage, and then we'll ping back to Auckland for U.S. Portugal.
Yes.
And then I break off with my cousin. This is like his 6th or 7th time in Australia. He loves it.
Gotcha. He's dialed in.
Yeah, he's dialed in. So he heads to Perth to go hang out with his people. He's got a lot of people in here. By the way, Australians are some of the biggest travelers in the world.
Yes. And Kiwis, I would say.
And Kiwis,
Having
yeah,
been there and
yeah.
met some of those, yeah.
Probably because they're in such a remote area, they they
Yes.
get these like huge, 2-month-long holidays where that you'll just catch them in some other country.
I think you nailed it. Yeah.
And they're super cool. They're I guess the ones who travel, they're
Some of
super
the
chill.
best.
Yeah. Some of the best.
my
people.
favorite people.
Exactly. So he's also believes that. So he's got again like he's been there for probably the last month already.
Wow.
He's been in Melbourne, hanging out with friends. So he's
I
all
want his
over.
job.
Exactly, right? Working remotely, right? Yeah. At one point, this another sidebar to the sidebar, but he works in sales, like software sales. And there was one point where, and I hope I'm not diming you out too much, Kendall, but he had like 2 jobs at once, and he would just exactly. And he was just on the laptop doing his calls, and he'd go and travel. So.
I know a thing or two about that.
Yeah, you see, it's a modern life we live.
Exactly.
Yeah, I did. There was an article in like the New York Times about that. Like millennials are now post COVID working from home, and now they're just having multiple jobs working from home and traveling and doing all this stuff. So it's becoming normalized. It's not crazy.
Right.
And it would be ridiculous if somebody's boss was like, "What? That's what you've been doing?"
But you're still doing all the things I asked you to do.
Exactly. How can you do that? No. So that's gonna happen, and then I go to Australia, and then I do like a little tour. I'm going from Brisbane. I go to Brisbane after Auckland.
Yep.
Then to Melbourne, then to Sydney. So I feel like I'm working my way south.
So you got the whole north-south,
Yes.
jump back up.
Yeah, north, south, and New
Gotta get up
Zealand.
to get down,
then go
kinda,
all the way to
yeah.
the top, and then north, south. Exactly.
Okay.
And then I'll finish up there, and then depending, I don't have a return ticket,
Oh, okay.
so that's
From
interesting.
Australia.
From down under in general.
Yeah.
I could end up.
So,
being
quick
there.
little travel tip. Maybe. I don't know if it's still this way. We kind of suspect it might be.
Yeah.
But you may or may not need to show
Some
proof
proof.
of onward travel, at least in New Zealand. So you have a flight from New Zealand already to Australia?
I do.
Okay, then.
So I should be
so you
okay,
should be
at
good.
least in New Zealand, because I did
New
look it
Zealand's
up for Australia.
New Zealand's pretty tight with their stuff.
Interesting. I know they have visa requirements that Australia didn't have.
You got your ETA thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
First time I was down there, so they're really big on protecting their biodiversity. So like they want you to let them know if you have like dirt from a foreign country on your shoes. Like you can't bring any produce from anywhere else.
Wow.
Yeah, really protective of that. And yeah, I guess kind of the way they approached COVID was probably like a good indicator of that too. Like you're an island nation, shut it down.
Shut it
Like it's
down.
pretty easy to
Yeah.
just protect yourself that way. So
Easily.
I don't know. Yeah, it sounds like you're good, but
No, but
to anyone listening,
that's good to know.
Little travel tip. Yeah.
I mean, I got T-minus 12 hours.
Hop on Google
on,
Flights
you know.
real quick.
Yeah, figure it out. Which is
What's the refund policy on this flight?
Exactly.
Need that.
So let's switch it over a little bit. But yeah, you got me scared a little bit.
No,
We'll
you're
figure- no. it should
sounds
be
like you're fine. You're
No, it'll be a good time. But you're right. As chill as Australia is seeming, New Zealand did seem a little bit more buttoned up. So
And it makes sense, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah.
So,
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But let's go back a little bit, kind of
Okay.
to the beginning of kind of your travel. And this is probably not even the beginning, but again, you mentioned to me off camera that you kind of did a nomad lifestyle a little bit.
in reference to New Zealand.
New Zealand, yes, yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, well,
And you can keep it short, but I think it's super interesting, and it like
Yeah.
really lends itself to like what you're doing now, right? You
totally.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. So not only is it myself and Mike as the Footy Travelers heading to the Women's World Cup.
Yeah.
My wife is coming along with us.
Mm.
So shout out to Kelsey.
Kelsey?
Third
Can't wait to
third
see
Footy
ya.
Traveler. Yeah.
Yeah.
She and I I want to say about 6 years ago. Very similar trip, where we kind of came through LA, visited some friends, and then we were, in that stage of life where we were a little, I'm going to drop a Latin word on you, not novatorient. We were dubbed as the Novatoriants in our little online blog thing, but
I'm gonna have to look that one up.
check that out.
I'm sexy.
Haven't touched that website in a while, so but we told ourselves we're gonna head to New Zealand and we're gonna move there for like 3 or 5 years and we're gonna get jobs and live there. So we went, and the MO was to get a camper. Camper vanning was like kind of huge then. I guess it still is.
Yeah.
Let's get a camper van and let's tour the country and let's figure out where we want to settle into for this 3 to 5 year excursion we're saying we're going to do.
3 to 5 years. That's a commitment
That was the plan.
Yep.
And I'm probably already giving away the ending a little bit with that.
Foreshadow.
That comment.
Slight foreshadow.
Yeah. Maybe I wouldn't. I would recommend 2 things. One, maybe don't lead off with that experience. I call it chosen homelessness.
Okay. Yes.
Pretty
yes.
stressful.
Really?
Where are we sleeping tonight? Where are we getting our next meal? We got to go food shopping and stock this little fridge we have in the back of an old converted painter's van.
Yep.
And that set the tenor a little bit for the rest of the experience.
Yeah.
So ultimately, we decided not to stay for 3 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Plan B was to come home. That always was. But
for sure.
We wound up going with Plan B eventually.
I mean, what was that like? 3 to 5 years. What did that shift into? 3 to 5 months?
I think time in New Zealand was maybe like 8.5 months.
Wow. I mean, still.
And then we did a 1.5 month travel back to the U.S.
Back
so it was
home.
like a total of 10 to 11 months. So
Okay.
we almost did a year.
Yeah.
But, another tip would be get a van you can stand up in fully.
Important.
That was important.
Yeah. You're a tall guy too, relatively tall,
yeah,
right?
relatively.
Yeah.
Wasn't able to stand up in the converted van. And yeah, the stand-up vans are abundant enough. You should be able to find one.
Yeah.
If that's your thing. So, yeah, we were there, 3.5 months, doing the van thing first. Actually, New Zealand, not to scare people more about New Zealand, but pretty prone to earthquakes. Some people might remember those 2011, 2013 Christchurch earthquakes, I think.
Yeah.
We were there.
Oh, yeah.
The one, I think that it was the 2013 one that really devastated that city.
Yeah.
Anyone going to Christchurch in New Zealand on the South Island during Women's World Cup will probably see that cathedral that they've kind of left, I think, unconstructed
Kind of in
and destroyed.
ruins, yeah.
In ruins, if you will.
Yeah.
They've replaced it with a cool cardboard cathedral. So check that out if you're in New Zealand as well. But 2016, it was 2016, November, the Hanmer Springs Kaikoura earthquake hits. We're in the camper van. We're on the beach. And if anyone's putting 2 and 2 together, earthquake plus coastal area near a beach, you think back to that Boxing Day tsunami.
Yep.
We're like,
The day the earth stood still
I don't know
type
if we
stuff.
could curse on this podcast.
No, you can
but
absolutely.
Holy fuck. What do we do?
Yeah.
I'm looking out the window because the van was shaking.
So you're feeling all of
and
this.
hop.
Wow.
It was. I don't want to be too hyperbolic. It was the most violent experience I've ever had.
Wow.
Like,
Interesting.
Like terrifying. I probably came back with some PTSD and some nightmares.
my
But so long. I'll wrap the story up. But we all, and I say like dozens of camper vans on this popular spot on the beach, start booking it away from the beach, heading up the hill towards town. And there's this guy out there waving his flashlight, and he's like, guys, listen, know what you're doing. This is probably the safest place for you. There's a bridge that way. It's probably effed. You don't want to just go flying in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And this was the middle of the night. This was like midnight, by the way.
Holy
We're sleeping,
shit.
and it's like...
So you caught the earthquake while you were asleep.
Yeah.
Which, why do earthquakes seem to happen, especially the bigger ones, happen like in the morning? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
3 a.m.
The Earth's waking up.
Yeah, exactly.
Too early?
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, shout out to the Snows in Kaikoura, New Zealand for taking in, I want to say, 20-some camper van and other type vehicles.
Do they have like a farm or something?
So
Like
they had this little hobby farm, yeah.
Yeah.
They had some land and some sheep and whatnot, which those 20-some vehicles equated to like 40-some people. Eventually, like the Navy helped evacuate people from Kaikoura onto their ships.
Wow.
Like, via helicopter.
It was serious.
Oh, this was national disaster.
Holy shit.
China sent their own naval ships and helicopters to get all the Chinese tourists out. They didn't. I don't remember them collaborating too much, to be honest with everyone. But U.S. Navy came down, Auckland, or New Zealand, Australian Navy.
Yeah.
Anyway, we were locked in. We said 3 to 5 years. We bought our van. We didn't rent it.
Oh shit.
So we're like, well, we're just gonna stay.
Can't leave our van. Right. We can't leave our life.
Where are we gonna go?
Essentially,
we actually have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
We don't have flights out of Christchurch in 2 days.
Yeah.
So the people who took everyone in, they told us, a couple other couples, stay here. You guys are, you're cool. You've been helpful with stuff. Stay with us. And we wound up staying there for 2 weeks until they finally.
2 weeks.
Yeah. Until they finally cleared all the roads.
Yeah.
Of all the landslide debris. That's what it was like. That's what got everyone stuck.
It's like very mountainous,
beautiful spot. So anyone, again, traveling South Island, New Zealand, go to Kaikoura, check it out. But it's very coastal. It's all right, right there on the coastline. And I remember the first time I saw this area, driving north up the East Coast, and I'm seeing this surf lineup. And these guys are surfing in the water. I'm like, I want to stop and do that. But it was wintertime, and I didn't have my stuff with me. But then I look to my left, so westward from the coast, and these gorgeous snow-capped mountains, like right there up against the coast. It's stunning.
Yeah.
So
the Earth is beautiful. Like
it's phenomenal. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And when it gets angry, it'll let you know.
It's violent.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. It's what we're forged from.
Yes. We've all come from somewhere, and it's a crazy place.
Yeah.
But so anyway, to wrap this one up, we're gonna
to cut that 3 to 5 years short.
we're like, you know what? We're definitely going home now. I think we need some stability. No pun intended, I guess. But we're gonna go visit, those folks who took us in, say hi to them, kept in touch with them.
Yeah, the Snow family, correct?
Snow family.
Wow.
Yeah, they were a little famous, I think, during that experience in town because everyone heard about all the camper vans being taken in by this. I got the sheer sheep, my first time. All the people in town, because their electricity was out.
Wow.
Their refrigerators were going to go. All the food was going to go bad, and they heard everyone was camping up at the Snows. They sent lobster tails and stuff, and we actually ate like kings.
Wow.
Because everyone was like, well, this is going to go bad, and you guys need this, and it was wild.
Last meal kind of stuff.
Fingers crossed. We don't have a similar experience this time in New Zealand, but stoked to be there again.
Real exciting stuff. Real excited to go now. No, I'm just kidding. It's like, didn't know about that. I have to say, a friend of mine was like, oh, you're going down under? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, do you hear about the animals, the mosquitoes, the tarantulas? And I was like,
sandflies were kind of a thing.
Sandflies.
Get ready for that. Bring some sandfly repellent.
Okay, where do I pick the Amazon?
Somewhere. It was some pharmacy in New Zealand. I'm sure you can get it from.
No way. Okay.
And I don't know, because it's their winter, I don't know if they'll be as bad.
Yeah.
But I'm sure summertime's worse. But sandflies. Oh.
Sandflies. Who'd have thought?
Especially on the South Island. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to have we might have to do another recap collab show.
When we get back.
100%.
How was it? How was the earthquake?
Exactly. How did you survive?
Yeah.
Are you okay? That's interesting. The picture I have in my mind is, I don't know if you remember this movie, Reign of Fire. I want to say it was Christian Bale or something like that. Okay. It's like dragons, some post-apocalyptic London where, dragons come and take over or something like that. But yeah, you as humans do, we find some kind of habitable area but then again, talk about kind of Footy Travelers and understanding culture and bridging cultures and connecting with people. You kind of are in this together now, right?
Yes.
How many other Americans were in this kind of world that you were in the camper vans, stuck on this island?
Not too many.
Yeah.
A lot of, Kiwis, obviously, for those reasons. Germans. And I think we kind of discovered it came down to the way other countries go about their leave from jobs.
Yeah.
And especially paternity and maternity leave. U.S. is very, we're pretty tight with that. I think
Very
we're finally making some headway. But Germans, they were with their newborns because they had 6 months off, both fathers and mothers. They were touring the country. I don't think too many Australians, but a lot of Europeans. Germans really jump out
for sure.
As the other set of camper vanners.
100%.
Probably the Dutch. But
there's always a couple of those.
Stuff. Yeah.
It's like, oh, we're gonna go and Yeah. Interesting.
But yeah, again, made really good connections with other people, especially through that experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's super cool. I mean, I can't even think about that. I don't want to be anywhere necessarily near that, but like understanding that experience.
Right. All's well that ends well.
All's well that ends well.
Would not wish that upon anyone else.
Yeah, this is probably like the most in terms of, and again, kind of my origin of this part of the travel part of my life and brand in this. Obviously I'm a lot more soccer focused. Yeah. I'm a footy nut, which you are too.
Yeah, you've played. I mean, you still play.
I still play. I still play in men's leagues.
Likewise,
all the time. But also kind of coming out of college and then realizing that I really didn't have a clear next step path in my soccer journey. Okay. I kind of started working, got a little bit of money, and just put all of that towards traveling. I wanted to see the world. But I would only go to cities. This is probably some of the most remote places I will be going in my travels. So,
are you flying from Auckland to Wellington?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not going to be
not a lot of driving.
No, not a lot of driving. I will be driving in Queenstown, but
that'll be beautiful.
Yeah, and I know that will be like remote and. But yeah, not something I'm a city boy. I'm a city through and through. Yeah. I need, and now like I'm so used to tap paying for stuff, and you know what I mean, like
which shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a problem. Yeah,
infrastructure's great.
Exactly. Australia, infrastructure's great.
Very Westernized.
New Zealand.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm excited about. And English too. That's always a help.
Maybe that's why it just makes it easier, and why I love it so much. It's like it's such a great place.
Yeah.
And I don't have to learn a new language.
Don't have to learn a new language.
Lazy of me? I
don't know. I mean, it's just kind of an
American
thing, right?
At least American.
It's like what we do. Yeah. As an American, doing these travels, because I don't think it's very normal, or we're a capitalistic society. You should be here trying to make your money and be a millionaire, shouldn't you?
Yeah. Get to work.
All this. Get to work. What are you doing here? What is this? What is this camera shit?
2 weeks off.
What are you thinking?
Denied.
Yeah. But yeah, actually, let me go back because I'm more curious about kind of the soccer of things a little bit.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about that. First of all, how are you selecting? You said you got your first final in the World Cup. How are you getting your tickets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get that question a lot.
Yeah.
And I actually asked that question of other people that I've met and come in contact with because, getting a final ticket. Well, I wouldn't say it's necessarily all that difficult now that we know the system. It's just friggin' expensive.
Yes.
And, we don't have all the money.
We're
not Qataris.
You're not just working. Exactly.
We don't have billions to blow on soccer.
Yeah.
Enough to travel. Plane tickets are expensive too.
Yeah, plane tickets are expensive.
So the most successful we've been is just going through FIFA.com.
Yep.
Understanding when their sales phases are. Mm-hmm. And, obviously our experience has been mostly with the men's tournament.
Yes.
And so it's knowing when that first lottery phase is. Mm-hmm. You put in an application during that lottery phase. Yep. If your application gets pulled, you get the tickets you applied for. And that was kind of how we got most of our tickets in South Africa, I think. It's 13 years ago. I'm trying to remember.
Man. Yeah.
Then there's also that first come, first serve period. That's how we got the majority of our tickets for this latest World Cup for men's. And I guess for women's.
Yeah.
But just having that FIFA.com account, logging in. I mean, in Denver, tickets are going on sale local time in Qatar around noonish. I think I was up one morning at 3 a.m. To get those USA team-specific tickets that we got.
Okay.
But
that was Qatar.
That was for Qatar.
Okay, yeah.
It's kind of playing that game.
That was hit or miss for me.
Showing up to the portal.
It's just like you can liken it to a new Nike Jordan drop.
It's a drop.
Where it's
exactly what it is.
Get on the app. You got to get up in the morning and make it happen. Yeah.
And then once we're in a location, there's opportunity to get tickets from other people who obviously have extra. Like we've had extra. We've exchanged. Yeah. We've sold. We've bartered.
Did you do that in Qatar?
Barter,
sell, exchange, any of that?
We did. We did sell. FIFA now has their resale platform, just like any ticketing platform. Right. They have their own resale platform. It's tough because what you could do is sell privately. Yeah. Mark up a little bit.
And mark up.
Get some money back, right? All those Coca-Colas in Qatar get expensive. No, there was booze there. That's fine. Thank you.
You did mostly on the website.
You can do StubHub apparently. I know people who bought through StubHub.
Yeah.
But how FIFA makes it difficult is that they obviously have their own ticketing platform.
Right.
You can't. You could transfer tickets. That's how it would work.
Yeah.
Maybe me and you, we meet, and I say, "I'd love your ticket," and you're like, "Sure, let me transfer this extra one to you. What's your email address?"
Yep.
Now I have a FIFA.com account. You've transferred it to me. I go to the app. I open it up. I have the ticket. But they don't let you transfer the ticket applicant's ticket.
Yes. The single ticket.
The single ticket for the person who bought all of the tickets for that game in that group.
Motherfuckers.
So, like, say I have 4 tickets, I want to get rid of them. I can very easily transfer 3 of them, but I can't get rid of that 4th.
Yes.
Very
I'm glad
easily.
you're saying that. I've actually not talked about that on this, and that was a big thing for me.
It was kind of a headache.
It was a huge headache.
So, I don't know, maybe you mark up the remainder and you get your money back through that.
Exactly.
Or if you trust someone, you let them log into your account.
Password. Give them your account. Yeah.
Which I might do with a friend. But
Yeah.
change your password right after that.
Change your password right after.
Nothing against your friend, but
no, same thing happened with me. I did the private way,
Okay.
which also included like literally scalping in the like in city center of Qatar.
Yes.
And
like with digital tickets or physical?
with digital.
Okay.
Because I couldn't get physical tickets
That's
actually.
the other issue.
Yes. They told us that we could go down to the ticketing center and get our tickets printed. And then when I got down there, they, like, again, the website was very clear. Yeah, if you need physical tickets, we'll give them to you,
Right.
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I go down there and they're like, physical tickets are only for hospitality workers or people who need them, right? So I get down, and that was the thing. I had 4 tickets that I was ready to sell,
Right.
sold them on StubHub or Ticketmaster or whatever. Transferred 3 of them.
Gotcha.
Then I get an email like, you haven't fulfilled your ticket, whatever. So now I'm like texting back and forth with the guy. Like I said, hey, there's a complication. Give me your number. We got on WhatsApp. I was like, hey, FIFA won't let me transfer this last ticket. Is there when I was just trying to find ways.
How can we work with
Can
each
I
other?
meet you I'll be at the game, whatever.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
and there was a little bit of a language barrier. I think this guy was from Argentina.
Yep.
And it was just difficult. So I then, not to mention StubHub then charged me. StubHub sold him tickets.
Ooh.
Yeah, Ticketmaster and StubHub, these resale
Oh,
platforms aren't. Yeah, you gotta be.
Yeah. Don't love them.
Don't love them. Don't love them. Like, it should be easy. And maybe I was just too naive. I was marking my tickets up, trying to get
Right.
especially the Argentina game.
Oh,
I had
which one?
I think it was Argentina.
Was it a knockout round?
No, it was just before the knockout round. It was like Argentina, Cameroon. But remember, they had lost to Saudi Arabia in their first
group
game of the group game.
Yes.
So they had to win.
Yeah.
And everybody wanted to see Messi. Still, like,
People want to
speaking
see
of which,
Messi.
I'm selling my LAFC tickets for anybody who's
Nice.
interested in LA. Inter Milan versus Inter Milan FC versus LAFC. If you want them, holler at me. There might be a little bit marked up, but probably not as marked up as you're probably seeing right now. Yeah.
Online, yeah.
But yeah, Messi just is gold. And
Yes.
so I ended up, my girlfriend was with me at the time.
Okay.
She was scared out of her mind because we were told we can't scalp tickets.
We had that same reticence, that fear.
Yes.
Until Russia, and then like some guy he brokered for us.
Really?
He bought our tickets. He's like, okay,
My friend, come here.
That was kind of his voice. Yeah. I think he was an Israeli
Wait,
guy.
was it you?
If he's listening now.
Yeah.
But he bought ours and then sold ours to someone else.
Yeah.
And he gave. I don't know how we worked it out, but
Totally.
yeah. We're like, okay.
Yeah.
I guess we could do
This
this.
feels right. I guess
then
you're going to
we-
give me money for it.
And then right after that, that's when they moved to digital tickets.
Yeah, exactly.
So we couldn't do that anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So there are those problems, but there's ways around it. You just have to be smart about it.
Clever.
But definitely through FIFA, like, remember, if you get multiple game tickets and you're planning to sell, which is kind of what we did. It was me, a friend, and my cousin who had planned this. We did exactly what you did for Qatar.
Mm-hmm.
We did, woke up in the morning, did the lottery.
Yeah.
We didn't get game specific tickets, so it was cheaper for us.
Okay.
And I think, the way, for those who don't know, the way they kind of structure it is they give you category 1, 2, or 3 possibilities. I think category, and they try to make it as fair for everybody to go and see these games as possible. So category 1s kind of start at $250 maybe.
I'd say that sounds about right. Yeah.
Cat 2 is around $150.
Yeah.
And then Cat 3 is like around $100 maybe,
Yeah.
right? Like Cat 3, you're anywhere in the nosebleeds to
Yeah.
section 200.
Category is kind of based on prime viewing.
Right.
Where you are physically in the stadium.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which I got these category 1s for the U.S.-Iran game.
Nice.
Amazing. I was right in the supporter section.
seats.
Great seats.
Yeah.
Right behind the goal, like off in the corner. So it was good, but we did that, and then we decided, man, we could make our money back on this trip.
Yeah.
Let's just drop $5,000 and get 6 tickets for each game we're willing to go to, and I think we picked 6 games.
Okay.
So we did like a whole thing. It was like an investment.
Yeah.
And then hindsight's 2020, but we kind of turned around, and it was the worst reselling process in the world. We did make pretty much our money back and maybe a little bit more.
Okay.
But I mean, we were imagining we were going to just, again, pay for our whole trip.
Yeah, you saw the goal.
Based on reselling. Yeah, exactly. And it just wasn't that. So again, if you're going to the World Cup, go to watch the games, go for fun.
Yeah.
You're not going to make a lot of money off it.
I'll add one more little tip. When you buy tickets and you select a category, there's an option, and this is through FIFA.com's ticketing platform. I believe there's an option where you can toggle off or on. I would accept tickets in one of the next category if there aren't my category tickets available. So let's say, you want
only category one,
only one
top seats, right?
And there's none available, well, you're kind of shit out of luck.
Yeah.
But if you toggle that on and there's category 2 available, you get that.
Huh, that is a great tip.
So with that, the additional step of that is I kind of prefer selecting category 2 because if there are no category 2, next to that is category 3 or category 1 because you're kind of in the middle there. And I tell myself I obviously pay less for a lesser view.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to pay a little bit more for an even better view.
Totally.
But if you choose category 1, and there's only category 3 available, you're not going to get that.
Yeah.
If you choose that.
Choose
category 2. Say yes, you would take a category next to that, and
you just have more
opportunity.
opportunity.
I think that increases your chances of getting tickets if it's in the application lottery phase.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good.
First come, first serve. You just you find the ticket, you click it, you buy it.
You just go.
But,
yeah. And luckily, again, just a nod to how the women's game is. It was just a lot easier for the women's tickets. I got to be honest.
Love that you bring that up.
Yeah.
So much cheaper.
So much cheaper. So much cheaper. So much easier to access.
Shamefully, almost.
Yeah.
Why?
I almost feel guilty, right?
Right.
Like what in
Yes.
the world?
And the other thing is you can't there's no team specific ticket.
Yeah.
The only way to purchase a ticket for the Women's World Cup is to select single games.
Yes.
And for the knockout rounds, you don't know who's where yet.
Yep.
And they're like, sorry.
Yeah.
But they are so cheap. It's kind of like, all right, well,
Let's try
I'm
it.
out what? If I buy 2 tickets, I'm out $60.
$80. Right.
Well, take my money, FIFA. Thanks
Exactly.
for being who you are.
Yeah.
I hate you, but
exactly. But I'll try it out.
But I'll
right?
do it.
I'll do it. It's Australia. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So to that point, what are you expecting now, having been to so many World Cups?
Yeah.
And we know, 4 billion viewers, half the world is watching this thing. It's such a big thing. Now the Women's World Cup, again, a little bit lesser, right? In terms of popularity standpoint, worldwide,
much more successful though.
But much more successful, especially from an American standpoint, right?
Yes.
But what are you expecting to see? Are you expecting to see again? And I want to compare this to Qatar because my cousin, that was his first experience. I went to 2014 Brazil.
Yeah.
So I saw a World Cup, but in a functioning country where other things were going on. Other travel is huge.
Yeah.
Still, it was Brazil during the World Cup. So it was so catered to the World Cup, right?
Yeah. A football, frenzied country.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Can't go wrong there.
The streets were empty when Brazil would play.
Yes.
They would
everyone's watching.
Everybody's watching somewhere on the beach. They had those big fan festivals.
Fan fest on Copacabana. Were you there?
Copacabana. Oh yes. I'm actually so surprised I haven't run into you at one of these things.
We've clearly been in the same places.
Finally,
rocking USA gear probably.
Exactly. And like I said in Qatar, I didn't see a lot of US people floating around. But yeah, I'm surprised.
So what am I expecting?
Yeah. What are you expecting? Is this going to be as big?
Honestly, I don't know. I'd love to say so. For the women's game, I'd love to see us value that as fans and spectators just as much as the men's game.
Totally.
Because where we're at now, it's just as exciting, in my opinion.
100%.
Sure, the U.S. women have been top notch for how many years? Close to probably over a decade.
Yeah. But the ball hasn't necessarily been as good.
The world is catching up.
Exactly.
The Lionesses.
Yes.
The Germans, the Dutch.
The Dutch.
Australia's got a decent squad.
Totally. Has had, Sam Kerr has had top players on their team forever.
Yeah.
Also, France.
Chelsea girl. I know
Chelsea
you're a
girl,
fan.
exactly. Here we are,
There you
baby.
go.
Yep. Yeah.
Mike's also a Chelsea fan, by the way. So
Awesome.
He'll appreciate this part of the conversation.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Exactly. The only team to root for.
Man.
Yeah.
Australians and Kiwis, Aussies and Kiwis, they love the party.
Yes.
So I still think the Women's World Cup Down Under will be that spectacle.
Yeah.
I'm stoked for this trip. Not just from a footy perspective.
Yeah.
But from that travel perspective. Positive or optimistic is that they had to move Australia's opening game against New Zealand's playing Norway, Australia's playing Ireland. They had to move it from one of the smaller stadiums in Sydney to a double the size Stadium Australia, where they're having the final because of ticket demand.
Wow.
So that's good news.
That is good news.
That's Australia. They're both rugby countries. I'd say New Zealand even more of a rugby country than Australia.
Yeah. I hear Kiwis it's tough. They don't watch soccer nearly in general.
Yes.
So
I just read a few articles. Actually, someone sent it my way to bring my attention to it. But the tournament, FIFA, and apparently one of the sponsors, Xero, the accounting firm in New Zealand. They didn't tell me to say their name, but it's just to give people
shameless plug. No, right? No. Not at all.
They were giving, or they are, they were, I guess. They're probably gone by now. They were giving away 20,000 tickets to some select games in New Zealand.
Wow.
Talked to a buddy who lives down in Auckland, actually, and he's like, yeah, I got the email about it.
Yeah.
Because there isn't as much of a demand maybe to attend those games live in stadium from the Kiwi perspective.
Yeah.
I don't know which games they were for, but that's kind of maybe the pessimistic outlook. So again, to get to the answer, what am I expecting?
To drink.
I'm expecting the drink. Yes. And there will be plenty of it.
There'll be plenty of that.
And it won't be like Qatar.
Yes. It won't be dry.
No, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Again, the environment, the spectacle of it, I think will be just as high and amazing as any other World Cup. I want to say certain games will be packed in the stadium.
Yeah.
Certain games won't be. But that's also kind of how men's World Cups are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we'll
stoked
see.
either way.
We'll see. You'll see with us for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll be throwing out some footage and content. So.
And the Americans traveling, do you think? And you're tapped in with the American Outlaws, correct?
Yeah, I mean, we signed up for membership with the American Outlaws.
Okay.
We got some good contacts and I'd say buddies at this point in Barra, Barra 76. Sammers is still a supporters group based out of the U.S.
Yeah.
So shout out to all the supporters groups.
Yeah, I actually know nothing about this. So
American Outlaws is not the only one.
Okay,
I
that's
think,
good to know.
Yeah,
to be honest, because that's all I see. That's all they probably are.
I think they do the most marketing. And kind of have the biggest name and presence. And they're the ones who are in front of the supporter section, capoing and leading the cheers and chants. So that makes sense. Yeah,
sure. But there's multiple.
But as far as Americans go,
are they traveling for this event?
I think half the people I've asked that we've kind of made contact with and become friends with and kept in touch with are going.
Yeah.
Half are not.
Okay.
Just can't make the trip. Some of them even saying so kind of last minute, I was really hoping to go. And
can't make this.
It's a haul.
It is such a trek.
I mean, we're both flying out of LA here.
I'm going 17 hours.
Yeah. It's at least minimum 13.
Right. Which means you have to be there for a while as well in order to.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
If you're going to travel you're going to lose a day going that way.
Easily. Yep.
On the calendar.
Yeah.
Because of the time difference.
I technically lose 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we'll be a day and a half in the future.
Oh.
Or I guess half a day in the future. Yeah. How about that?
I say anyone going down that way in the world, minimum 2 weeks. Don't come for 5 days because a whole day of that's going to be lost traveling.
Yeah, you'll be there for 3 days and it'll be like, what? Yeah.
Where'd time go?
Exactly. So you have to be there.
Have to be there.
Well, I'm excited. I think I agree with you. I think there will be a spectacle for sure.
Yes.
I think especially slightly a little more excited about Australia than New Zealand.
Okay.
But for the spectacle of it all and for the football of it all,
Okay.
right? Even though the U.S. are playing primarily in New Zealand.
Group games in New Zealand.
Group games in New Zealand. But I have no idea what to expect. I've been all around the world and never to this side.
Yeah.
So
I think what will be really telling for us as fans and spectators, how serious FIFA is taking the women's game. Will be how much effort and pomp and circumstance they put into those opening, like, there's an opening ceremony for the tournament, but each game kind of has like that opening ceremony, the music and the pyros. Yes. Right. And then, and then the anthems.
Yep.
So if that matches kind of what Qatar offered, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
You know, FIFA is kind of putting their money where their mouth is and supporting the women's game more.
Supporting it. We got stars. We got, and there's also like I gotta say, just which will now be called EA Sports FC, the FIFA video game.
Right.
I've had a lot of fun playing with the women's side on the video game. I'm just gonna throw that out there for any FIFA players listening in. Like it's its own thing. It's kind of faster game, so it's creating again a little bit of buzz. We've got names to look for and things like that. So it's out there.
Speaking of names and numbers, I noticed our Colorado girl,
Sophia Smith, number 1 or number 11, obviously, but number 1 in our hearts. There it is. No, super excited to see her. Trinity Rodman, some of the OGs, the Crystal Dunns, the Alex Morgans, everybody. Like this is Rapinoe. We're retiring probably a lot of players after this too.
Officially announced Rapinoe.
Yeah, Rapinoe's she's on her farewell tour. So there's a lot to see. So make sure you keep it locked.
I'm feeling it.
Footy Travelers. See, honestly, I've been telling people too. Like it hasn't hit me yet.
Right.
But now it has, honestly. Just talking to you about this, it's coming tonight in this moment.
Man, the energy in this room is good.
It's warm in this room. We've got some excitement. It's coming. Keep it locked at Footy Travelers, right?
At Footy Travelers on Instagram.
Make sure on Instagram.
Podcast is on all the platforms.
Footy Travelers, you can find them. Obviously, EPB, you know where to find us. Eat, Pray, Ball on Instagram. Keep it locked on us. We're gonna have content. We're gonna be showing you what it looks like, and we'll share the experience. Yo, Colin, I appreciate you fucking coming, brother.
This has been great.
Finally in the studio. Anytime you're in LA, you're welcome. Yeah, we're here.
Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely.
This is amazing.
Thank you for tuning in. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button everywhere you get your podcasts or on YouTube. It's the EPB/Footy Travelers podcast. We'll catch y'all later.
Peace, y'all.